Hey, welcome back E3 members. Today we are taking this awesome brand new XCUB on floats, I may add. We're heading south of Miami down into the Florida Keys. We're gonna find some really cool islands and some beautiful beaches you just can't get to unless you got a plane like this. So let's jump into our pre-flight and we'll see you on the other side.
Power assist 495, Papa Delta ready for departure, runway 9 at Lima.
All right, so we're heading south down towards the Keys. There's a couple spots I want to try out that we haven't been to, a couple little islands that are really cool down here in South Florida. So we're heading there now. Now, a few things I want to talk about. One is I already did my homework on my navigation charts when it comes to my marine charts. Look at the islands, look at the depth around the islands, find a corridor that I can land that's got enough depth and that there's no obstructions or anything. So in the cockpit here, not only do we have our aviation navigation equipment, but we also have our charts, our marine charts as well. So we get our buoys that we can look up the weather on there so that we know what are the currents in this area, what's the tides. We got our tide charts on here with the high tide, low tide. That way there we know if we're hitting low tide and it says 1 foot, that means 1 foot it mean low tide when it comes to getting up to a beach or something like that.
11 o'clock.
So we got traffic here, looking for that.
There it is.
No factor, okay. Yeah, helicopter right here. So now what we're also doing is we're scoping out where we want to go and land. And we're going to kind of do a couple of passes, just like off-airport operations that we talk about in the FX3. If you're out in like the mountains or something like that, we're going to do a pass or two, check out the spot, make sure there's no obstructions underneath the water, right underneath the water. We're going to make sure that the waves are not cross direction to the direction we want to land. So I'm trying to find places that I can land into the wind and into the waves, if there's any waves. Of course, if there's no waves or a lake or something like that, then basically I'm landing into the wind. So we're checking all this stuff out right now as we're flying over the area that we want to land. We got vessels out here, there's buoys out here, so we have to keep our eye out for that stuff. So we have a good spot on where we want to go ahead and land, and we'll do those passes and check that out. So before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about the landing gear system in this Whip Air 2100. The nice thing about this system is it's got audible alerts and a bunch of physical alerts you can look at as well. So obviously we got our 4 lights, blue lights or 4 green lights. Blue lights, obviously, gear is up for water landing. The other thing is that we have mirrors. And then on the floats, we have a physical indicator. That's a physical wire that sticks up that tells us that it's in water landing or in land landing. Now we have those pieces that we can check when we're going to land. So obviously we'll land in the water, we want gear up 4 blues. Now the audio alerts also are male and female. So if we're landing on water, you will hear a female voice saying gear up for water landing. I verify I got 4 gear here, 4 blue. If it's land landing, that will have 4 green, you'll hear a male voice say gear down for land landing. So you got all kinds of indicators. Now also, when we're landing, if there's a mismatch, if it knows we're not over an airport and we're over water, and I'm going to land, and there's a mismatch, it's going to scream to me, and you'll hear it, where it's saying check gear condition. Basically another alert that you can actually check to make sure that the gear is in the right configuration for the type of landing you do. So the Whip Air 2100s, along with the Carbon Cub setup here, is really great. So you got all those indications and all the audio indications to keep you safe in a water landing. So let's go ahead and we're going to dive down here. We're going to do a couple of our passes. around the island here. We're going to check it out, check our landing zone, make sure there's no obstacles or anything like that, and then we're going to go ahead and touch down right in the water here at one of the little keys. So let's go ahead and do that.
All right, hey everybody, so we're down here in the Keys, just south of Miami, Biscayne area. And as you can see how we get into a beach, we typically, as we're taxiing in, just before we're about to turn off the engines and coast into the beach, what do you want to do is get my helmet off, get my seatbelt off. If I'm not going to wear my shoes, get my shoes off my feet. Make sure there's nothing in our pockets that can drop out when we're jumping out of the plane. I mean, if we're beaching, it's no big deal because you can just beach. But if it's something you're going to jump out quick on, like you get into a dock or something like that, you want to get your helmet off, your seatbelts off, everything out of your pockets, so you can jump out really fast, jump on the dock, grab the rope that's hanging off the wings there. So that's how we do it when we get in here. Now, then we'll just flip the plane around like you see right here. Most of the time it just sits here, it's no problem. But we've got lines, as you can see on there. If you go to our other video, we talk about all the accessories, all the different stuff that we have. Go check that video out, and we talk about everything from how we tie these lines and how we use them, what's inside our holds, like anchors and stuff. So if we're gonna be here for a while, you know, we'll pull it up like this, get a couple of us, lift up the tail, pull it back up on the beach here, and we watch our tides and things. And then we've got those lines that we can bring it up and tie it to, you know, a tree that's here on the beach or something like that, or if we have to, we can anchor into the ground. But, you know, that's how we kind of come down here to some of these islands and stuff and go to places that most people would never get to, and check out these really cool spots here in South Florida. Okay, so another big question, the water around us. I mean, you got to do your homework. It's not like a bush plane where you can kind of do a pass, check it out, looks good, no rocks or anything, and land like we do in our FX3 with the big 35 inches. When it comes to the seaplane, it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, now you're a boater also. So what we do is we have our buoy charts. We know what our tide shifts are, when the high tide is, low tide is. Right now we're just coming up on low tide, so we know that, and we know that the tide's gonna be coming in. That also gives us our feet in mean low. So mean low tide, what our feet is out here. So in the cockpit, you'll see we have our iPad, and our iPad has our marine charts on it. So we know our depths, we know where we can go, where we can't go. Everything from tides. I look at the buoy information because the buoy information tells me wind direction, current direction. So if you got a current or something, that's a whole nother thing you need to think about. If you're landing in some of these places where you're landing, the water looks calm, and then all of a sudden you have a current, and as soon as you turn the engine off or you land and you don't have your rudders in the water yet, the current's just gonna flip you right around. So you gotta understand the currents as well when we're landing in these certain areas. So it's not like bush plane, it's like bush plane and another couple of dimensions on top of it. Depth of water, what's underneath it, the tide, where the tide is at that current time, are there any currents or anything like that we got to worry about, and are these islands private, not private? I mean, there's a lot of stuff we think about on top of that. So that's why we also have the iPad with our marine charts and weather and buoys, as well as our normal navigation charts. So that's a little bit more, but we're gonna go ahead and have some fun here on the island, and then head back out, and we'll show you more in the plane. See you in a few.
So we talked a little bit about, we got our regular navigation, but we also have our marine charts that are here on our iPad. So You can see here that, you know, we got depth. We know what the depth is around the areas. We got our sonars, we got our buoys here, so we get our buoy weather and things of that sort. So I can check these buoys and it'll tell me water temperature, what the current is. It'll also tell us what the tide is, the weather in the area, the winds at the surface. So I get surface winds off of my marine navigation charts from the buoys and things. So, but more importantly, it's to know where I can actually land. Do I have enough depth to be able to land there? And then as we get up close to the beaches, you don't want to land at a key or somewhere where you're going to get, you know, 1 foot for a half a mile, because you're probably going to hang up there before you get to the beach. So we're usually looking for something where it's like 3 or 4 feet, and then it quickly goes up to like a foot right at the beach. So how I do that is by using the nav charts, the marine nav charts here. So that's a little bit of insight on that. And then we do a lot of our pre-flight when we're going out to do water landings. We do pre-flight not only on our panel, but we also do our pre-flight in the marine navigation charts as well. So that's a little bit about those charts.
All right, awesome day. Love flying around the Florida Keys on a beautiful sunny day and landing in the water, running up to some of the islands and stuff. So hopefully you guys get some good stuff out of that. And I want to share a few more things with you. But before we do that, I just want to let you know, like and subscribe first of all, so that we know that you like these videos and you want more of them. Second thing is there's a ton of videos that we do with all these different aircraft inside the E3 Aviation membership. Make sure you jump in the E3 Aviation membership. We got live calls every week, events all over the place, fly-ins, magazines, tons of content, and just so much more. So make sure you jump in there and grab it. Now, I do want to talk a couple things as we get this plane ready now that we've just been in salt water. So a few things to talk about. If we're just landing like we did today, maybe going to lunch or pulling up to a beach and coming home, then we don't have to do too much. We obviously are going to flush out the insides, and I use this salt gun. And this salt gun, I spray the whole plane, especially in the engine, the gear and everything, let it sit for a couple minutes, and then we hose it off. But if the plane's going to be in salt water for like a week or a long weekend, like in the Bahamas or something, and it's in the water, we will go ahead and pull these plugs out, and we will absolutely drench and fill these up with fresh water and drain them out to get all the salt water out of there. We're only in there for a couple hours. There is really almost no water that's come up inside. These are brand new floats. So I want to talk about that. The other thing is I want to talk about this. These are not your average marine life vests. You don't want to have a plane like this or any plane and go to get an average marine type automatic life vest. The reason is this is manual. You have to pull this to get this to inflate. You don't want to have an automatic one that you get at the marine stores, because if you're in the airplane and it gets water and it hits water and this goes off while you're in the airplane, you're going to have a tough time getting out. So you want to make sure that these are specific to aviation, where this will not go off until you get in the water, and then you can blow it off. So just want to let you know on that. And then we also put glow sticks and EPIRBs and stuff inside these too for passengers and things. So anyway, hope you guys got a lot about that flight. Go check out the other videos. We have full videos on the accessories. We did a full walk around on the plane, how we do our pre-flights, everything you want to know about this particular plane, including our other ones. To get the Carbon Cub FX3 video, we've got our Conquest video. There's a ton of content inside the E3 membership platform. So go check it out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.